Hooked on Homemade Happiness. Welcome to my channel. Today we are going to be making the waffle stitch. For this stitch I am using a worsted weight yarn. This yarn is Stylecraft Simply Erin, but you can use any worsted weight yarn that you like. And then I'm also using an H5mm crochet hook. You can use any weight yarn that you'd like, but you will need to change your hook size accordingly. So let's go ahead and get started by getting our yarn on our hook. For this stitch, you will need a starting chain of a multiple of 3 plus 2. So I am going to be starting with a chain of 20. So 18 is my multiple of 3, and then after the multiple of 3, I will add 2 more. So I'm going to do a chain of 20. And 20. So here's my starting chain of 20, and for the first row we're just going to do a row of double crochet. So I'm going to start in the third chain from my hook, and I like to count these back humps as my chains. This is where I like to insert my hook when I start in a starting chain. So here I'm going to start in the third chain from the hook, and I'm going to work a double crochet. So I'm going to yarn over and insert my hook into that third chain, yarn over and pull up a loop. I'm going to yarn over and pull through 2, and yarn over and pull through 2 more, and there's my first double crochet. I'm going to do that all the way across my starting chain. And for this stitch, the chain 2 does not count as a stitch. So here's my first row of double crochets. So your first row should now be a multiple of 3. So I have 18 double crochets here in row 1. So for row 2, I'm going to chain 2, and this chain 2 does not count as a stitch, and turn my work. And I'm going to double crochet in the first stitch. Now this chain 2 does not count as a stitch, so that means I'm working in this very first stitch, the same one as my chain 2. So I'm going to work a double crochet in that same stitch. And then in the next stitch I'm going to have a front post double crochet, and that means I'm going to work my hook around the entire post of this stitch. So I'm going to yarn over, I'm going to insert my hook around the post. So I'm going to go in the space in between stitches, and I'm going to come back up in between the next space in between stitches. So I'm pushing the entire post of this double crochet forward towards me. Then I'm going to yarn over and pull up a loop and work my regular double crochet. So I'll yarn over and pull through 2, and then yarn over and pull through 2 more. So there's my front post double crochet, and you could see how it kind of just pushes that stitch forward. And then I'm going to double crochet in the next 2 stitches. So making sure I'm not working in this one I just front post double crocheted, I'm going to make sure I skip this one because I already worked my front post double crochet in that stitch. I'm going to work in the next one a regular double crochet. And then again another double crochet in the next stitch. And then in my next stitch, I'm going to work another front post double crochet. So here's my next stitch, and again I'm going to yarn over. I'm going to insert my hook in between these stitches right here, and then I'm going to pull my hook. I'm going to push my hook back up around the post through the next space and work my double crochet. And then again I'm going to double crochet in the next 2 stitches. and then a front post double crochet in the next. So yarn over, insert your hook behind the whole entire post of the next stitch, and then bring it back up on the other side so you're pushing that entire double crochet forward, and then work your double crochet. Double crochet in the next 2 stitches. Front post double crochet in the next. And that is the repeat for the rest of this row. You'll do a front post double crochet and then 2 double crochets in the next all the way across the row. Continue working that repeat, 2 double crochets and then a front post double crochet. Until you get to these last 2 stitches. And the last 2 stitches you're going to end with a front post double crochet and then 1 double crochet and regular double crochet in this last stitch. So there you have row 2 for the waffle stitch. You can see the posts starting to form for our stitch. So now for row 3, I'm going to again chain 2 and turn my work. And I'm going to double crochet in the first 2 stitches. So again, this chain 2 does not count as a stitch, so I'm going to work my first double crochet in this very first stitch, the same one as the chain 2. And then another double crochet in the next stitch. And now in the next 2 stitches I'm going to work front post double crochet. So I'm going to do front post double crochet, front post double crochet. So yarn over, insert your hook behind the entire post of that next stitch and work a double crochet. And then do that again in the next stitch. And then here we're going to work a regular double crochet. And then again 2 front post double crochets. So you're kind of working the opposite of what we did in the previous row. And then another front post double crochet. And then a regular double crochet in the next stitch. And we're going to repeat that all the way across, and then when we turn our work, we'll definitely start to see the pattern, the waffle pattern, start to form. So again, 2 front post double crochets. And then a regular double crochet in the next. And continue repeating that across till you get to the last 2 stitches. Front post double crochet, front post double crochet, and then regular double crochet. Here we have our last 2 front post double crochets. And here I'm at the last 2 stitches, so I'm going to double crochet in the next 2 stitches. And there is row 3 for the waffle stitch. So for the next row, again, I'm going to chain 2 and turn my work. And here you can see our pattern is starting to form. You can kind of see the squares for the waffle stitch a little bit. All right. So again, this chain 2 does not count as a stitch, so I'm going to work my first double crochet right here where my chain 2 is. And then I'm going to front post double crochet in the next stitch. And I'll double crochet in the next 2. So here are the 2 from the last run where we front post double crocheted, and you could see how it kind of pushed the top of these stitches forward to create that horizontal line across. So we're going to do 2 regular double crochets in the next 2 stitches. And then front post double crochet in the next. And then regular double crochet in the next 2. And then front post double crochet here in the next. Regular double crochet in the next 2 stitches, and we're going to repeat that all the way across just like we did for row 2. Front post double crochet and 2 regular double crochet, and then front post double crochet in the next, then regular double crochet in the next 2. And here's our last 2 stitches. So I'm going to front post double crochet in this next stitch right here, and then a regular double crochet in my last stitch. So now you're starting to see that waffle grid type pattern start to be created with this stitch. Just that combination of regular double crochets and front post double crochets is all you need for this fun textured stitch. So you're going to keep repeating rows 2 and 3 until it's the length that you want for whatever project that you're making. I do like to end on a row 2 repeat on this row was what I like to have for my last row of the stitch. So let's go ahead and do a couple more repeats of rows 2 and 3 for this stitch. So again, I'm going to chain 2 and turn, and I'll double crochet in my first stitch and then again in the next. Oopsies. And then I'm going to front post double crochet in these next 2 stitches. Regular double crochet in the next. So again, this is kind of like the opposite of what we do in the row 2 repeat is what we do in the row 3 repeat. Front post double crochet in the next 2. And then double crochet in the next, front post double crochet in the next 2, double crochet in the next, front post double crochet in the next 2, and then regular double crochet in the next, front post double crochet in the next 2, and then here's my last 2 stitches, and I'm going to work 2 regular double crochets in the last stitches. So here's 1 and 2. So now again, I'm going to repeat row 2. So I'm going to chain 2 and turn, and then I'm going to double crochet in my very first stitch and then front post double crochet in this next one. And then regular double crochet in the next 2. And I'll repeat that all the way across, working my front post double crochets where you see the vertical lines and then the regular double crochets in between those. So repeat that, front post double crochet, 2 regular double crochets all the way across your row. Here's my last 2 stitches. I'm going to front post double crochet in this one here, and then double crochet on my last stitch in the row. So I'm going to continue repeating rows 2 and 3 until it is the length that I want, ending on a row 2 repeat. So here we have the waffle stitch. It's such a fun stitch. I love this pretty texture. It creates this cool grid type look. This stitch is one-sided, so there is a right side and a wrong side. You could use this stitch for a blanket, but just keep in mind that there is technically a wrong side to this stitch. I love it for hats, I love it for ponchos, for sweaters, things where you only show one side of your project. This stitch is perfect for this fun, simple texture, and it works up so quickly. I hope you found this tutorial helpful. Thank you so much for joining me.